Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I hope there are no doubts in chapter 3. When you start reading, if you get any doubt, please feel free to ask. Okay. Now we'll start with chapter 4, that is human development. I've been talking too much of human development. I will learn that in human development, so leave it as of now. I've been telling the same dialogue for a few days, isn't it? So finally, we have reached the chapter 4, human development. In this, we are going to learn about developmental psychology. This is a part of developmental psychology. That is a branch of psychology that deals with the study of humans, the changes, the physiological, the biological, psychological, all the changes occurring in the or all throughout the lifespan of an individual. That is from right from the birth to the old age or till death, or right from the point where a life starts. Just a minute. So as I said, we'll be learning about the whole developmental processes in different dimensions. It might be physical, cognitive, the physiological, psychological, and so on. Right from the point where an individual is taking on life, that is starting life, might be in the mother's womb. From that point till the death, we are dividing it into different stages, and we are going to learn about the features of each stage. Okay, do you know in which developmental stage you are in now?
Adolescents.
Adolescence. We call it adolescence. Okay, it's in common terms we tell it's teenage, but in the terms of human development we say it's adolescence. And you all are adolescents. Spelling is different. All right, so please read that first paragraph, introduction. Just read that. Abhilash, do you have the book?
The PDF. So yeah.
Starting. If you look around.
Introduction. If you look around, you will notice that from birth onwards, changes of various kinds are taking place in an individual's life, which continue even during old age. Over a span of time, a human grows and develops, learns to communicate, walk, count, and read and write. She or he also learns to distinguish between right and wrong. She or he makes friends, goes through puberty, gets married, rears children, and grows old. Even though we differ from each other, we share many commonalities. Most of us learn to walk by the first year and talk by the second year. This chapter will familiarize you with the changes observed in people during the courses of their lifespan in different domains. You will learn about key developmental processes and change taking place in major periods during the lifespan: prenatal, infancy, childhood, adolescence, adulthood, and old age. This would be a journey of personal understanding and self-discovery which should help in your future development. The study of human development would also help you to deal with others better.
Okay. So before we begin, let me ask you, what do you think is the difference between development and growth? Or are both of them the same? Growth, development. Do you think they are the same?
No, ma'am.
No. Then how are they different?
Ma'am, growth is by physical means, and development is mentally.
Only mentally?
Ma'am, all of the factors except physical.
Not except physical, it's including physical. Okay. So in growth, when you say about growth, it's mostly regarding the physical aspects. But development, it has various dimensions. Like if you are considering a human being, then the difference in or the increase in height, weight, all that is the growth of an individual. But the development of certain skills, your intelligence, how much cognitive capabilities you have, and how much you have improved from last year or maybe the previous day, and how much you are able to take your own decisions. All those factors, all the cognitive factors, all the physiological factors, everything comes under development. That is why I told you, in human development, we are going to divide the whole human development process into various stages, and we learn about all the different developments happening in these stages. Okay, it might be biological, it can be socio-emotional, it can be your cognitive, any dimension. All right. So basically, in meaning of development, given in page 65, we have the definition of development. Please underline that. Development is the pattern of progressive, orderly, and predictable changes that begin at conception. Conception means, what do you mean by conception? What do you mean by conception?
From the stage of pregnancy.
Yes, from the stage of pregnancy. From there and continue throughout life. So it's a pattern of 3 changes: progressive, orderly, and predictable changes that begin at conception and continue throughout life. Yes, development mostly involves changes, that is both growth and decline, as observed during old age. So growth means, generally we say it is an increase, isn't it? Like if a child has increased in height, then after 5 years, if one of the relative meets him or her, then they'll say, you have grown too much, or you're grown up, you're a grown up now. That's a common sentence that we have all heard, isn't it? You're all grown up now. Yes, but in development, it can be increase as well as decrease. In human development, we learn about the increase as well as decrease. For example, in old age, not for everybody, but for at least for some people, there'll be decline in cognitive abilities. Like some people might have less capability in memorizing things. The elderly people, especially in old age. Okay, so it's not a good development, isn't it? It's not an increase of an ability, it's not an increase of a skill, but it's a decline. So in development, there can be declines as well as an increasing in any capability or skill or any particular function. Can be anything, but growth, generally we refer to physical factors, and also it is generally referring to the increase of something. Commonly, that's how we understand the difference between growth and development. So growth is a part of development, or development is a part of growth? How is it? How do you think it will be?
It's a part of it.
Yes, growth is a part of development. So development is the umbrella, and the growth is an small part. It's a small part of that. Okay. Now, that is a definition. Now, again, 3 bolded terms are given there: biological processes, cognitive processes, and socio-emotional processes. We'll be studying about these 3 processes in each, what do you call, the lifespan stage or developmental stage. Okay. And biological process, as you all know, how much of your organs are developing, how much of your body parts are developing, all those things are learned in biological ones. Then cognitive process, it's regarding all the thinking aspects, knowing, thinking, decision making, how much is your intelligence developing, how much can you perceive, at what age can you comprehend, all those things. Then socio emotional, it's related to the interpersonal skills, how much you can feel something, how much you can express your emotions, how are your reactions, emotional reactions, especially towards certain situations. All those are learned in the topic socio-emotional processes. Okay. So there is one sentence before that. Development is influenced by an interplay of biological, cognitive, and socio-emotional processes. Please underline that and keep. First sentence in the second paragraph. Development is influenced by an interplay of biological, cognitive, and socio-emotional process. So it's the mix of all these processes that brings about the whole development. Okay, and all throughout the lifespan, all these three processes influence our behaviors, thoughts, actions, and everything. Okay, that's given in the last paragraph. That's all. Now we start with lifespan perspective on development. There are 7 points for this lifespan perspective on development. Okay, lifespan perspective on development. The first point is development is lifelong. As I told you, right from the point of birth till the point of death. After old age, person moves to the point of death, isn't it? Every human beings, in every living species also. So development is lifelong. So this form of development doesn't stop here, nor does it stop here. Or if we become an adult, that doesn't mean that the development process is stopped there. Okay, it is a lifelong process, which means right from birth or from the point that we take life till we end the life. Till that point, this whole development process is going on. Some or the other form of development is always going on. That's the first point. Development is lifelong. It takes place across all age groups, starting from conception to old age. Okay, takes place in all age groups. It includes both gains and losses. That's the main point to note here. There are positives and also negatives that is happening here. That is, increases are also there, as well as some decline, some form of decline capabilities or skills are also there in this whole lifelong process of development. Okay. Now the second point is various processes are interwoven. That is, the various processes of human development. Which are the 3 processes that we discussed just now in the introduction part? Unmute.
Biological, cognitive, and socio-emotional.
Biological, cognitive, and socio-emotional. So all these processes are interwoven, which means they interact with each other. Okay. See here, biological and cognitive processes are interacting here. And socio-emotional and biological processes are interacting here. And cognitive processes, socio-emotional processes are interacting here. All the 3 are interacting here also. Okay, so they all are interwoven, which means they interact with each other. So the development that happens in us, it is a byproduct of the interaction between these 3, mainly these 3. So throughout the lifespan, these 3 processes get interrelated to each other. They interact with each other and bring about the changes in us. All right. So that was the second point. And the third one, it is multi-directional. Third point is development is multi-directional. Development is multi-directional. That is, at some point of life, maybe some of our abilities might increase. And maybe a person at the same stage of development, for them, it might decrease. I'll give you an example. Suppose there are 2 individuals who are aged 75. Okay, person A and person B, both of them are aged 75. But person A is very much active. He is even involved in bodybuilding, then learning a new skill and so on, even at the age of 75, because he has taken care of his health very much. And so he is very much socially active and also physically active at this age. But person B has a lot of health issues, diabetes, cholesterol, then obesity and everything. Okay, so that person is not able to remain active, even socially and what do you call, physically. That is because of the fatigue that they feel at that age. So there might be decline in certain abilities for that person. But for the other person, he is trying to gain new skills. So that means there is an increase in the abilities, isn't it? So it's generally considered that development is always multi-directional. Even when you consider people of different age also, for a child of age 3 and for an adult of age 25, the capabilities and skills might increase and decrease, isn't it? Depending on the individual, depending on the developmental process that person is going through. So that is why for some people it might be a decrease, for some people it might be, sorry, for some people, I just said the opposite. For some people it might be the increase, for the others it might be a decrease, might be a decline. Okay, so it can happen in any direction. That is why it is called multi-directional. Development is multi-directional. That's the third point. All these points comes under the topic lifespan perspective. Okay, LSP, lifespan perspective. So once more, which was the first point? Development is lifelong. Second one, various processes are interwoven. Third one is it is multi-directional. Clear? Okay. Now the fourth point, it is highly plastic. That means there is high plasticity in this. What do you mean by plasticity? What is a feature of plastic? In the picture also you can see. What is a feature that you can see here?
Easily breakable.
Easily breakable and why do we have high use of plastic materials? We have a variety of designs of plastic materials than in metals, isn't it? You agree? Yes. For example, when we consider plates that we use for taking food, there are steel plates as well as plastic plates. But which one has the more variety? Obviously, the plastic, isn't it? Different shapes, different colors, different patterns, everything. While the steel plates have 3 or 4 designs, I would say. Why so?
I would go for its material.
Because of its
Material.
material. What is significant in its material?
Metal is too hard.
Metal is too hard, okay. But plastic is not too hard. It is easily moldable, isn't it? It can be changed easily. Like even when you see this picture here, if this was the shape, then with 1 or 2 hits, it can be this shape. And if we add 2 or 3 more hits, it will be this shape, isn't it? It can be easily changed. That is what is meant by plasticity. It's highly plastic. Development is highly plastic means there are changes happening, especially psychological ones. Like right now, if you're sitting in the class and then you're very calm and quiet, and suddenly I come and scold you for something that happened a few weeks before. I scold you very bad and I insult you in front of everybody. And you feel really bad, you get hurt, and then you have all this rage inside you towards me. Okay, hypothetical situation, don't take it personally. And what happens is when you were in a calm state, you had certain features, isn't it? Like emotionally and your thought process, everything was in an equilibrium kind of. But now everything has gone like this, isn't it? Earlier it was in an equilibrium, now everything has gone like this. So it is easily changeable. Again, because of this one situation, it might affect your socio-emotional development. Like even after 5 or 10 years, you might have this rage inside you, and this might affect your behaviors. It can for some people, and this might become a part of their personality. They might become too much insecure, especially. That's why it's said that children, when they are in the early developmental stages, they should not be exposed to too much of violence or too much of abuse. Not too much of abuse, they should not be exposed to abuse. That's the thing. Okay, so this is the fourth feature of development. It is highly plastic. Just see the point. Development is highly plastic. That is, when within person, modifiability is found in psychological development, though plasticity varies among individuals. This means skills and abilities can be improved or developed throughout the lifespan. Haven't you heard this term? There is no age limit for education. Yes, or there is no age limit to conquer your dreams. Maybe one person might become a very successful entrepreneur at the age of 20. Another person might begin a startup at 40 and may become a very famous business tycoon at the age of 65. Anything can happen. The skills, the abilities or the capabilities that a person has, the functions, the adaptive functions that the person has, it is modifiable, especially psychological ones. That's the basic essence of psychotherapy also, isn't it? When one person is approaching the yes, Amal?
In 1986, one child have more capability in 15 years, and she became famous.
15 years, even at the age of 15. We
One
call them
five, 1 5.
1 5. I'm talking about 1 5.
Golden days. She was died at 21 years of age at a car accident. One actress. She has more capability. She became a psychologist.
Okay. So the point that we are talking about was, again, plasticity. It can occur at any age. At different developmental stages, some features can change. It can increase for good or decrease, depending on the person and the circumstances. That's the fourth point. Now, fifth point is, it is influenced by historical conditions. It is influenced means the development is influenced by historical conditions. That is the fifth point. For example, like situations in this year might be totally different from the situations after some 20-25 years, isn't it? And the experiences that you are going through right now are entirely different from what your parents and grandparents had to go through. Yes or no? Like the most apt example is, again, education. They used to walk miles. You might have heard stories. I used to walk miles and go to my school. I have heard. Your moms and dads, at least your grandparents, would have said this. Those days, bus was not there, this was not there, private vans were not there, car was not there at home. So we had to walk miles and reach the school. Then we had to walk back. On the way, we saw a pond, and all the so and so stories will be there, isn't it? But again, when it came to my age of school education, it was like most of the travel methods were like private vans. Private vans were there, which had these children picked up and dropped at the front of the house itself. Okay, but now you don't even have to travel, isn't it? Wake up from the bed, or even at bed, even at the bed, switch off the video and easily sleep or partially attend the class. Very easy, isn't it? Yeah. So that's it's influenced by the historical conditions that is happening around us, isn't it? Just a minute. Okay, so that was our point. It is influenced by historical conditions. Amal, can you read point 5 from the textbook? Page number 66.
Point five. Point
0.5.
development is influenced by historical condition.
Hmm.
For example, the experience of 20-year-olds who lived through the freedom struggle in India would be very different from the experience of 20-year-olds of today.
Hmm.
The career orientation of school students today is very different from those students who were in schools 50 years ago.
Yes. Again, same. Earlier, they didn't have to know about the Zoom app. They don't. They don't even think about the computer applications as a means of their education, isn't it? But right now, you have to check which is the less data consuming one, which enables you to work with other apps altogether. You have to check so many features when you have to select an application. So again, that's different. It's depending on the historical conditions that a person is going through, the person has lived in. The next point is it concerns a number of disciplines. Number of disciplines means, do you remember we learned about different disciplines that are linked to psychology in the first chapter? Like different, you know, theoretical approaches as well as the different fields that are related to psychology. Just like that, development is a concern for a number of disciplines. It can be related to the sociologist. It can be related to anthropologist. It can be related to psychologist. Anything. There are different field of studies and people who are interested in development. They might belong to different fields of study, but they are commonly coming together to study development. Okay, even archaeologists, they also might be involved in studying about development. So development is a concern for a number of disciplines or people from a number of disciplines. That's this point. Okay. Now the last one, an individual responds and acts on context. An individual responds and act on context that we have already studied, isn't it? It's depending on the context that one person reacts or responds. Right now, if I ask a question, it's not necessary that how many of you are there? 14 of you answer the same way. Again, some of you might have network issue. Some of you might have some technical issue. Some of you might have some personal issue that you don't want to speak. Yes. So depending on the context, you respond differently. That's the last point. An individual responds and acts on contexts. Read that point. An individual responds and acts on contexts which include what was inherited, the physical environment, social, historical, and cultural context. For example, life events in everyone's life are not the same, such as death of a parent, accident, earthquake, etc., affect the course of one's life, as also the positive influences such as winning an award or getting a good job. People keep on changing with changing context. See these examples, that doesn't happen in each and everybody's life, isn't it? Experience of an earthquake, then accident, then winning an award. All these doesn't happen in each and every person's life. It is not like this that when you reach the age of 7, you will be met with an earthquake or you will be met with an accident. It's not like that, right? It happens according to different circumstances, according to different people. So they act on to that context and those situations. That is the last point. An individual responds and acts on contexts. Okay. So these are the 7 points. Show you once more. Till what time is the class?
250.
250.
10
Okay.
minutes more.
Lifespan perspective on development. It's also known as LSP. If you see a question like LSP, you have to understand that it is lifespan perspective on development. Okay. If it comes as an essay question, just write the definition of development. Write about the 3 processes that can influence development that are included in development. You can also write on differences between growth and development. And also finally this one, LSP. start with LSP, lifespan perspective. First point was development is lifelong. Okay. Second point is various processes are interwoven. That is these three. Then multi-directional development is multi-directional. It happens in different directions. It can be an increase or a decline. Then it is highly plastic, which means especially the psychological capabilities or functions are modifiable. The modifiability is there. That is meant by plasticity. Okay. Then influenced by historical conditions. Then it is a concern of a number of disciplines. Then an individual responds and acts on contexts. Okay. Now, can you make a story out of these 7 points to remember? Do you remember that I told you about mnemonics one day? Yes. Can you make a story out of these 7 points? Just try. Last year we learned this, the current 12th standards, they learned it with the mnemonic and they still remember it. Read and see if you can get any. I'll tell you what we discussed last year. It might sound weird, but still. The first thing was we all are going on a journey. Okay, just imagine we all are going on a journey and it's a very long journey. That is the first point. Okay, connect it with the lifelong, that word, and learn. Development is lifelong. That is the first one. Okay, then second one was, so when you go for a journey, you would pack so many things, isn't it? What would be the thing that would be on top of your list?
Toothbrush.
Toothbrush and
Clothes, bathing towel, soaps.
bathing towel, soaps, and
Ma'am, food for the ride.
food for the ride. Food is important. Then
Money is very important for the trip.
money is important. Yes. If you're going on a short trip, what would be the first thing that you remember?
Clothes.
Clothes. Okay, so long trip you won't take clothes. Okay, then. Alina, you say something. Mobile phone. Mobile phone?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? Yes. So mobile phone means you need the charger also, isn't it? Yes. Then
First aid kit if we need it.
first aid kit. Then so food, clothes, toothbrush, first aid kits, mobile phone, charger. Is that all?
And the suitcase.
I'm asking what's in your bag, backpack.
Packages.
Huh? Yes, Amal? You didn't say. Anything else? Any more points to add?
Ma'am, keys.
Keys.
House keys.
Okay. So just imagine you all are in a hurry. Okay, because I gave a message suddenly and you have to pack everything together and then run and come to the place where we all decided to meet. Okay, so obviously everything would be interwoven, especially the charger and the things like that, isn't it? The charger, the power bank, you miss the power bank. Everything will be holding together. It will be interwoven together. That is the second point. Okay, when you open the bag, everything is interwoven. So first point was it is a long journey. Remember like that. So development is lifelong. Then we pack the bag but everything is happened in a hurry, and then you packed everything and came to the point. So from here, we reached a point. From there are different directions. Some people want to take another path. Some people want to go on trekking. Some people would like to go off road. So we are taking different paths, but we are going to the same place. Okay, so that's the third point. It's multi-directional. Even if we go in any direction, we'll reach the final point. What is that in development? Death. Okay, this is the third point. It's multi-directional. Now, while we were about to go, most of us had to pass away where heaps of this plastic materials and all the garbage was found. Okay, so we were on the way here, and this is consider this as a house, and then we got out. Here we saw the bag. It was interwoven. And finally, we reached a point where we took different directions, but some of us saw heaps of this plastic and garbage lying there. Okay, that's the fourth point. Now, after that, finally, we reached a railway station where we are waiting for the next train to arrive. Okay, and we are reading a book on maps and the history of the place that we are going on our destination. We're reading a book on a destination. This is the cover page. Consider this as the cover page of that book. So it's influenced by historical conditions. After studying this, don't remember the story alone. Remember the points also. Okay. We are studying lifespan perspective. All right. Then what happened is while we were reading, we have other people, other passengers of the train, isn't it? Along with us. So there was one psychologist, there was one sociologist, there was one anthropologist, and there was a mix of people. So they are most of them come and ask us, isn't it? Where are you off to? Where are you going? Where are you stopping at? Yes. So they'll come and ask about us or our destination. So it is a concern of a number of disciplines. That's the sixth point. And finally, when these people are asking something to us, or if they talk to us, it's we who decide whom to respond, isn't it? Suppose we don't like a person, or we feel that something is suspicious, then obviously we won't listen to them. Yes, or we'll try to escape from that situation, most probably. Isn't it? That was the last point. Okay, an individual response and acts on context. Now just see if you can recollect all the points. I'll show you once and then we'll stop. Development is lifelong, various processes. Just consider that bags example. Interwoven, charger and power bank, everything is interwoven. Then it's multi-directional. It happens in different directions. Then highly plastic. That's this one. We saw a heap of garbage and plastic lying on. Imagine that example. Then influenced by historical conditions. Then concern of a number of disciplines. And finally, an individual response and acts on contexts. Okay, just see if we can memorize it now. Can anybody try? Yes. Kevin, you want to try?
Ma'am, so it's a long journey, and then all the characteristics are interwoven.
Processes are interwoven.
Processes are interwoven. Then it's highly plastic.
Before meeting
multi-directional.
yes,
multi-directional.
Very good. Multi-directional.
Then it's plastic.
Highly
And
plastic. After plastic, we reach somewhere. We are waiting. Okay, anybody else continue? You reach the railway station. Abhilash. Continue.
It goes according to historical conditions. Then it concerns with various disciplines,
Yes.
and then finally it varies according to context.
What was the last one?
The processes vary according to context.
Yeah, they respond according to different contexts. That was the last point. Individual responds and acts on context. So the first thing, I know it's difficult to recall now, but what you have to do is read the 7 points first. And remember the story that I told you after reading all the 7 points. Then you can easily relate and easily remember. Okay, so study the 7 points, then remember the story, and you can easily recollect it. If you don't have the content, you won't be able to recollect it. You'll just have the story with you. Okay. All right. Fine then. So don't forget to read and come the portion that I asked you to read from chapter 2. Okay. Now all the best for your next exam then. Thank you.